Hello and welcome to the second video in the induction series. What we're going to be looking at now is the Unix file system and changing directory and navigating the Unix file system. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open our favorite application terminal down the bottom here. I'm going to make that full screen by pressing F11. Then I'm going to zoom in by Control++. Do note on some keyboards you may have to hold Shift. Just going to zoom in here just to make it a little bit easier to see. So the first command I'm going to run today is known as pwd, or print working directory. The working directory is the folder you're currently in. For example, if I was to go to the GUI and open up a directory, this folder here would be known as the current working directory. So going back to terminal, if I run pwd, we can see the current working directory is /home/induction. This is the folder I'm currently in. The next command I'm going to use is known as ls. You may remember it from the last video. ls, or list, shows us a list of files and folders in the current working directory. These are two very useful commands that's highly recommended you remember. Why? Because they help us orient ourselves in a Unix system. It's always good to know where you are and what's in the current folder or directory. What we're going to do now is look at how the Unix file system is a bit different to what you may be used to, such as Windows operating systems. So in a Windows operating system, you'll notice that all files and folders are a subdirectory of a drive. For example, the C drive or D drive. If you're coming from a Mac system, you'll notice that the file system is very similar. So you don't have to worry too much there. So the first thing you need to know about a Unix file system is that all files and folders are a subdirectory of root. What is root? Root is the top of the file system. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go there now using the cd command. cd, or change directory, allows us to change our current working directory to a different folder that we specify. So cd space slash says, let's change directory to the top of the file system, also known as root. Let's do that now. Then I'm going to run ls again just to see what's there. You may notice that the files and folders are different. That's because we are now in a different directory. Just as if I was to click on a file or folder in this one here on the GUI, we go to a different directory. cd allows us to do the same thing in terminal. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at, which is also very important, is the difference between relative and absolute paths. A relative path is one relative to your current directory. For example, I'm currently in the root directory. We know that by running the pwd command. The pwd command will always give you the absolute path starting from root. A relative path is one relative to our current location. For example, the media folder. As we can see when we run the ls command, it is inside the root directory. So if I do cd space media, notice how the first character is not a slash, indicating that it is a relative path. If I press enter and then pwd again, we can see that I have changed location to root media. If I was to run that same command again, if you wish to run a previous command, simply press up. What we'll notice is that it will throw an error saying there is no such file or directory. This is because this command or this path is relative, and there is no folder in the current working directory known as media. Do note that for a relative path to work, there must be a file or folder matching that name in the current directory. So what I'm going to do now is I'll show you an absolute path. An absolute path is one starting from root. So for example, cd/home/induction. This is an absolute path as the first character is root, and it will work no matter where you are. As you can see, I've run it from /media and it's taken me to /home/induction. If I was to run that command again, we can see it's taken me to the same folder. There is no folder in my current directory known as home, so we know it's an absolute path. The best way to identify if a path is absolute or relative is based on the first character. If the first character is a // you know that it's an absolute path starting all the way from root. Okay, a couple of other pathing things that will help you navigate. The first one is .. If I was to run the command cd space .. it allows me to go up one directory. Let me show you that now. So cd space .. pwd, I'm going to run that command again, and we can see that the first time I ran it, I was in /home/induction, and then it took me to /home, one folder above. As you can see here, went from induction, and now we're down into home. If I run it again, I get taken to the root or the top of the file system. If I run it again, you'll notice you can't go above root, it's the very top. You can't go any higher. You'll notice no matter how many times you run that command, it will always take you to the top. If If you ever get lost, just keep running cd ... until you get back to the very start of the file system. This is quite handy as it saves you time when you don't have to type out the full path of the file or folder. Another shortcut that you might find quite handy is tilde. CD space tilde. This is a character you may not have seen before. It's also known as the console key in Counter-Strike, is above the tab button on the left side of the keyboard. What you may notice about tilde, it's a shortcut to your home folder. CD space tilde will take me to /home/induction. It's exactly the same as typing cd/home induction. It will always take you to the home folder of the user currently logged in. So just to go through those commands we covered today, there is pwd or print working directory. There is cd or change directory. There is ls, which is list files or folders. Okay, so please review these commands and practice them in your own time. The best way to get comfortable using the terminal is to practice. The more you practice, the easier you'll find it, and you might even start to find it's a fantastically useful tool. Anything you can do with the GUI can be done faster with the terminal, and it will be widely used throughout your university degree. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.